So, so hey guys, मैं एक्चुअली बाहर हूँ, so आज मैं मीटिंग अटेंड नहीं कर पाऊंगा बिकॉज ऑफ मैं आज मैं घर से काफ़ी दूर आ गया हूँ और मुझे जाने में काफ़ी टाइम लगेगा, so today I am not attending the session and we guys are continue.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Hello guys and very welcome to our new day of 21 days interview challenge. And today here this is Vishal and Amit with me and I am the interviewer. So let me start the question. So first let's start with Amit. Amit, you tell me about what is front-end technology and why it's helpful.
Yeah. So as we all know that being a web developer, we have two sections: front-end developing and back-end development. The front-end development deals with the interface that clients basically interacts with, like the web pages and all the elements on it, like buttons or any sceneries or all the front-end related things, like the UI part, everything that clients is interacting with falls under the front end. So in front end, we have all these things, and we have tools through which we can build a front end. Basically, it is done only HTML, CSS. But if you want to build a complex front end, like user can interact with, so there are some libraries like React or Next.js, or there are a lot of frameworks in it. So yeah, so this is all about front end. Summarizing and all is front end is the thing that user can interact with on a web page.
Okay, perfect answer. Now let's move to the Vishal. Vishal, you tell me about CSS selectors.
Okay, so basically CSS selectors are selectors by which we can select HTML element and give the styling of that element by selecting that element and give the styling, put the styling on it. We use CSS selectors.
And what are their different their name, how we can select some example.
Okay, so we have five types of selectors, uh, like universal selector, element selector, tag selector, class selector, uh, uh, universal selector, class selector, ID selector, uh, tag selector, and I just forget it. But we have five types of selectors. I know that. Uh, yes.
Okay, that five one is pseudo class selectors. Okay, so perfect you answer. Let's go to the Amit again. Amit, to tell me about what is OOPS concept in JavaScript.
Okay. So OOPS basically stands for object-oriented programming. It is basically a concept, we can say, or an idea through which we mainly focus on objects. So and not in JavaScript, but mainly in Java, we have this concept. It has five pillars as well. Everything in JavaScript is made up on objects. So we have different kinds of ideas there, like polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation, and other tools I don't remember actually. But those are five pillars. Studying on those five pillars will give us more more depth in how object-oriented programming works. So yeah, this is all about OOPS.
Okay, mainly there is a four pillars: encapsulations, then inheritance, then abstraction and polymorphisms. Okay, so correct. Now let's go to the Vishal. Vishal, tell me what is box model in CSS and which properties they provide us and we can use it.
Okay, so CSS box model is a like it's a properties in CSS, uh, which actually I'm little bit confused about it. Uh, you are
Can I
talking,
repeat my question?
yes, CSS box
Um,
model property.
box model and which properties it contains. Like four properties it contains and which are there.
Okay, so it contains like four properties as you said. Uh, margin, padding, uh, border, uh, maybe these properties it contains.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so basically the space between content to outer layer is called uh, margin, and the space between your content to uh, 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 actually I'm not uh, able to clearly define that this. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, okay. So actually your concept is clear, but you later maybe forget. So let me tell you, box model is CSS like a property for it's like a blueprint of element. There is a for property content, actual content of the our element, whatever content we are creating. Then padding, border, and margin, right? Okay, so let's go to the Amit. Amit, you tell me about React. Why we can use React and why we use like for example, I want to create e-commerce, big e-commerce website. So I will use React instead of HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So tell me about benefits to use React.
Okay, benefits. So, as you told, that we can make a full-fledged website using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and also we can build the backend as well. But while making this using pure vanilla JavaScript, we need to do a lot of things manually. Like we need to in JavaScript, we need to cache the elements and update the elements. We didn't have any tools that we can automate the things. But when we come to React by default or built-in, it has some built-in hooks that we can use, like use state hook to manage the state, and it has a lot of hooks, and also it has something called a virtual DOM, which actually is very beneficial, and it is the main reason why we use React. While working with DOM elements in JavaScript, we need to manually grab the DOM element and do the manipulations. Either is it removal or adding or manipulation, anything we need to do it manually. But in React we didn't need to do it manually. React has something called declarative approach, where we just tell React what we need or what we want, and React by its nature, it's it did it with some optimized approach. Like it has some optimized approach, and we just declare it what we want, and it just did it. Under the hood, it uses some very good algorithms, which is hidden by us, but we can actually use those things. So this was one thing. Virtual DOM is the another thing, and it has some thing called modular approach. So in JavaScript, we have to do all those things. Like it has, we have files in normal JavaScript. But while working with React, we have components. So component makes a web page very easy to understand, because we work only components, and by building up component, we have our whole UI. So component based architecture is another reason why we use React. And there are more things like uh, I don't actually remember, but there are a lot of more reasons why we choose React. Yeah.
Yes, totally correct. Good answer. Now let's go to the Vishal. Vishal, your question is tell me about local storage.
Okay, so basically local storage is storage which is provided by the browser itself only, in which we can use a small amount of data. The like the capacity of storage data is only 5 MB. Uh, so we can store the data, a small amount of data in our browser storage, which is called local storage also. But if you have a big large amount of data, so we can't store the data inside the local storage. So for that we have other storage, like backend storage also. So for storing a small amount of data, we can use local storage, which is basically a storage in the browser itself only.
Okay, nice. So let's move to the last round of the day. So Amit, you tell me about hosting in JavaScript.
Okay. Hoisting basically means that we hoist or we raise the all the declarations, variable declarations and function declarations as well at the top of the JavaScript file, so that JavaScript compiler knows what variables or what functions we are going to use. because it needs to know so that it basically separates the memory space for all the variables and all the functions. That was one thing. Secondly, variable happens different in different ways. Like for variables, it just knows the variable. It raises the variable names only, not the values. In functions, it hoists the name of the function and as well as the body of the function. Thirdly, functions is there, but while declaring a variable with different keywords, let's suppose let, var, and const. So these three has their own ways of raising the variable. Like in var, we can actually well, like if we declare a variable in the middle of the file, then JavaScript compiler will know that there is a variable. But in case of let and var, it knows the variable, but it won't initiate the variable unless and until it goes to that line, and that line and the line zero in bit in middle of that, if we try to invoke it, it will give us reference error or some kind of it is some kind of a temporal dead zone which we will get as a error. So yeah, this was all about I know.
Okay. So one follow-up question to you. So you mentioned that temporal dead zone. So on which variables, for example, you will have var, let, const, right? So on which it applies?
Yeah, it applies for let and const because these two comes in like in advanced JavaScript. Previously, we didn't have this, but now in PS6 we have let and const. So temporal dead zone only applies to let and const.
Correct. So let's go to the Vishal. Your question is, what are different data types in JavaScript?
Okay. So basically we have two types of data types, primitive or non-primitive data types. So primitive data types are the data types which is non-mutable data types, and the non-primitive data types are the data types which we can manipulate or like we can changeable data types. We can manipulate or change the data. So yeah, we have mainly two types of data types, primitive or non-primitive.
Yes, you're correct. But in primitive, for example, we have a string, number, boolean, undefined. I was supposed to this answer. Also, you're correct. Primitive, non-primitive, and in non-primitive, we have a add-in objects. Okay, so note down this. So by this questions, our day is end now. So this is what for today. So if you want to join us, so there is a one form inside description. You can fill and come to us. And you can join us. So
Okay. Thank you guys.